He stole my stuff to give to his partner, but my mom stood up for him. She bought nice things with his child support money, which I found out when I ran away to my dad's house. Hello, my name is 16F and I recently moved out of my mom's house to live with my dad. I don't want to go back home and give her another chance, even though she begs me to. My parents broke up 7 years ago and she started dating Rick about 3 years ago. This is so she can spend time with my stepdad Rick and stepbrother Liam. 16M. After being together for a year, Rick and Liam moved in with us. It's been about 8 months since my mom married Rick. The people I live with don't care about me and try to stay away from me as much as possible. It's been hard for me, Rick and Liam, but ever since they moved in, my mom hasn't talked to me as much. She doesn't seem to care about me because she spends most of her time with them. I used to hate that she took care of me while my dad had custody, but I spent most of my time with her. After they got divorced, I spent about equal amounts of time with both of them for the first few years. I went back and forth between them. Now that was 4 years ago. My dad got a big raise at work and was now the best boss in the world. He would have to do more job and be responsible for more things. He would also make a lot more money than before. He had to quit his job though. He was also much busy because he had more to do. That wasn't a problem for me, but I missed seeing him more often. We had to make some changes to the parenting plan because of this. I had to drive a lot more to see him because I had school and other things to do. I moved in with my mom during the week, and my dad would either set up a time for me to come see him or come see me every other weekend. We were both sick and tired of it, but we kept going for now. After high school was over, I was going to move in with him because I was sick of him since my mom got married. Again. I didn't want to live with her anymore because it looked like she didn't care about me and her plans had changed. I tried to talk to her about it a few times, but all she would say was that she cared about me and that her relationship with Rick and Liam wouldn't affect our relationship because I was her real life. However, something that happened not long ago made me realize that all of her reassurances were empty words. I found out that Liam had been taking my expensive shoes and makeup to give to his girlfriend as gifts. We now go to the same high school after going to the same middle school. His dad and my mom met at a school event because they are both single parents and saw each other. Without a doubt, Liam has been seeing a girl from our school since middle school. I follow her on social media too because we are both in the same year. I lost a really expensive pair of shoes a few weeks ago. I had no idea where they were until I saw that his wife was wearing them in one of her posts. Like I said before, this isn't the first time something of mine has gone missing. I lost some makeup and other pairs of shoes. Also, my dad gave them to me as gifts, so they were expensive. I took great care of them, so I knew someone in the house was taking them. I even told my mom, and that's why she fired the maid. After that though, things kept going missing and she finally told me I must have lost them. I knew I had to ask that girl in her post if Liam had been giving her more gifts than usual when I saw her boots. We don't really talk to each other, but we're not friends or even close. But it looked like an emergency, so I called her anyway, even though it might seem odd. I was shocked when she answered. She said that Liam had given her a lot more gifts than usual in the last 2 weeks. Most of them were expensive shoes and makeup, which made her very happy. For some reason, that girl didn't think to ask him how he could afford everything. But when she told me he was stealing my stuff and giving it to his partner, I lost it. She told me that he had been taking these things from me to make her like him more. She did get that message, but she didn't answer it. I don't care if she answers or not, I don't want to think about that. After our talk with her, I told Liam about it and showed him copies of our chats. I asked him why he was taking my things, especially things that were private, like makeup. He tried to tell me that nothing was true and that he had been saving up his pocket money to buy her these things, but I knew that wasn't true. Mom and Dad give us each the same amount of extra money, which isn't even enough to pay for half of the shoes. There was something very strange our parents did when I told them about it that day. I didn't get it. Instead of scolding him, his dad began to speak out in his defense. His father defended him and accused me for everything, saying it was my fault for always bragging about how expensive my dad's gifts were. Liam was allowed to feel strange about it. Seeing as he couldn't really use the makeup and choose it for himself, he decided to show it off to his girlfriend. Rick told him that he understood his point of view, even though what he did might have been wrong. That was a really stupid argument. I don't show off the things my dad gets me because I don't think they would care. When Rick tried to protect Liam, I really thought that was how he really felt. I think he was scared that he wouldn't be able to afford the same expensive gifts for his son. He also felt bad that my dad, who used to be married to his ex-wife, could always buy me such expensive things. In that case, I guess he tried to blame me for everything. But I wasn't going to let him make me think that was okay, because I knew it wasn't. My mom was in the room the whole time, but she didn't say anything. There was a fight between Rick, Liam, and me. Rick didn't seem to want to see my point because if he did, he would have to say that his son had done something wrong. Because I thought he was trying to hide it, I even asked her to help me. But my mom didn't want to be a part of it. She instead told me that she knew I was having problems with Liam, and that I didn't have to be a spy to get him in trouble. This was just between me and my brother, she told me. They had nothing to do with it. After that, the fight was over. The kids and I went to our rooms. Liam went to his room. All of them were making me crazy. No one was there to listen to me though, because they didn't care. Liam had said he had been stealing my things, but he wasn't getting in trouble for it. It made me very sad. He had been saved by Rick, and my mom wouldn't even say anything against that. I felt so lost and let down after that event. No matter what, I was going to stay with my dad. I wasn't going to go to high school. That night I worked hard to pack my things, and then I sneaked out of the house very late. I was lucky to have a friend whose older sister had a car when I knew everyone would be asleep. She and a friend took me to see my dad. We got back around 6 in the morning, 4 hours after we left. As soon as my dad saw us, he was shocked. He opened the door for us all, and I told him what had happened that made me choose to stay with him right away. He knew I didn't feel cared for when I lived with my mom, but he told me to wait a few more years because I would be done with high school and not have to decide where to live. But after hearing what I had to say, he promised to help me because it was clear I couldn't stay with him. I agreed, to be honest. I was glad he was on my side because I couldn't live with those people. My friend and her sister drove back home the next day. My friend told everyone at school that I have mono. That's why I'm not going to school until I feel better in 2 weeks. I won't worry about that because it will be easy to get a medical clearance to explain my absence. My mother actually worries me because she hasn't stopped telling me she's sorry since the day I left home and noticed I wasn't there. She called and texted me to find out where I was. She keeps begging me to come back, but I don't want to. It's been a week since I left. It hurts me to have to break her heart. There is something morally tough for me to deal with now that I know some new things from my dad that I didn't know before. I'm having a lot more trouble because of this. As an example, my dad was very angry that my mom was being mean to me. I found out that he had been paying a lot of child support since he got a promotion and had to move away. We talked about a lot of things. After getting promoted, he was able to get a job at a nearby business. Given that I would be living with her most of the time and only seeing him on the weekends, my mom asked for 20% of his pay as child support. She thought this was fair. My dad didn't have to pay child support before he got promoted because they shared care and made about the same amount of money. But after getting the raise, he agreed to do what my mom asked because he thought it was fair. He was making a lot more money now, and she would do care of me most of the time. After that, he began to worry that the money might not be enough to take care of me. Several times he told my mom that it was making him nervous, but she always told him that she was saving the money for my future and that it would be worth it in the end. Because he didn't want to make a fuss, he just took her word for it. But after hearing what I had to say about my time with my mom, he wasn't so sure she was telling the truth. He really didn't believe her because he kept up with her on social media and saw that she had bought some pricey things before. I can say for sure. In the past few years, my mom had been very careful with her money, so no one would think she was abusing the child support money. She made sure to spread them out. She bought herself a lot of pricey clothes, jewelry, and other things over the last few years. She had also bought Rick and Liam things that looked like they came from Tiffany in the past, and she would sometimes even buy me something. But she didn't buy me many things because my dad already gave me expensive gifts and she didn't want to spoil me even more. Rick and my mom are both middle managers, so I found it a little odd that she could suddenly afford to treat herself. But I thought it must have been her funds. I never even thought she might be getting money from my dad as child support. Now you all understand why this is such a tough situation for me, even if I plan to forgive her and accept her apologies. Right now, I don't think it's important because I don't know if she wants me back or just the child support. My dad agreed to pay child support until I turned 18. The worst part was that every time I told her she hadn't paid attention to me in years, she always said she was watching me while my dad worked. She also said she had to work hard to afford to raise me and care for her new husband and son, which is why I may have felt like she didn't pay attention to me. I had to learn more about what she meant when she said she would be there for everyone as her daughter. Now that I know she was getting child support from my dad, all of that seems like she was trying to trick me. For fear that I would tell my dad or even leave her. I was being ignored. She didn't want me to think I was being ignored. If I did, she would lose control of me and the child support checks. It's clear that she didn't have to work very hard to be able to live the way she wanted to, because 20% of my dad's income is a lot. The fact that she's been telling me lies for so long makes me feel cheated. She's still my mom, so I feel bad for her. I don't know what to do right now. I wanted to do the right thing, but I don't. I want to hurt my mom in a way that will stay with me. All the time, I don't know what to think about this. I keep hearing from my mom that I need to say sorry. From this point on, she's mostly just pleading with me, but I haven't replied. What am I going to do to finish high school? If I move in with my dad, I won't be able to go to the same school. I will not be able to go that far. Really, I want to know if moving in with my dad and leaving my mom alone is the right thing to do. There are a lot of things to think about. Could you move in with my dad instead of my mom and her new family? Hey. Everyone, I just want to let you know that it's not true that my dad isn't around. He's just being a dad and all. He also needs to work very hard to give me the future I want. He has always been there for me in my thoughts. I really don't mind at all. I turned down his first offer to move with him because I was too tied to my life here to even think about it. I didn't want to leave my mom, my friends, or school. Since I chose to stay here, he had to make the best of things too. His offer to let me stay with him when I told him I was mad that my mom wasn't paying attention to me was really sweet. I didn't want to leave my friends or school though, so he started to push me to stay with my mom instead. He wanted to be there for me. He never made me feel like he didn't want me or care about me. That was just to set the record straight. I didn't want anyone to have a bad opinion of him. Because we had a normal connection like any mother and daughter do. That was a big part of why I stayed with my mom after we broke up. When she started dating Rick, she began to change, and her goals changed too. There have been times in the past few years when I've been torn between moving in with my dad and starting over and staying with my mom to live the same life I've always known. But I haven't posted here in a few days, so I've read the comments and talked to a few people. It's getting clearer to me what I should and what I want to do. From now on, I'm going to live with my dad. I should have done this a long time ago. It took me a long time to think about it. My best friends and I talked about it a lot, and we all decided that this is the best thing for me to do right now. Their friends and family will miss me, but that's no reason for me to stay at my mom's house and put up with life there. I can see that she cares more about Rick and Liam than I do. It was really hard for me to make this choice because I've known these people my whole life and am very close to them. We've known each other since we were in school. In the end, though, I had to leave because we can't all stay together forever. Besides, wanting to stay somewhere I'm not wanted just to be with my friends seems silly and childish right now. I chose what was best for me. Some people know what I'm going through and can help me. They pushed me to do the right thing. This was something they were going to get from me, even if it meant leaving them. No one else would help me sneak out of my house, run away, and then drive me for 4 hours in the middle of the night to get where I need to go. I'm grateful for my wonderful friends, but I need to start over. My dad was told about it, and he is already talking to his lawyer about it. Now that I'm 16, I can pick who I want to live with, so it should be pretty simple. If I don't stay with my mom, you don't need to pay child support. She won't be getting any money now that she's married again. It's kind of like taking away her money. I'll know if she really just wants me back, or if the money is what's making her keep texting me to say she's sorry and asks me to come back once she finds out. She doesn't know anything about it yet because the plans are still being made. There is still talk between my dad and his lawyer. But she'll find out in a few days, so let's see how she acts then. I will choose whether to keep in touch with her or cut her out of my life for good based on what she says. I'm not going to answer any of her calls or texts until then, as I don't have anything to say to her. Due to what took place, I had to leave. Because she should have helped me now that I think about it. I don't understand why it was such a big moral and ethical stress for her. Liam was taking from me, so I wasn't even wrong to be mad at him. When everyone knew his kid was wrong, Rick stood up for him. But my mom wouldn't even support me when she knew I was right. The more I think about it, the more mad I get that she cared about Liam and Rick, not me. Anyway, what's done is done. Second, my mom finally found out a few days ago from my dad and his lawyer that I had decided to stay with my dad and stop paying her child support. Forms were filled out by my dad and his lawyer to get primary custody of me. My mom will still be able to see me sometimes, though. It doesn't really matter what she says because I'm 16 now and who I choose to live with is more important. It wasn't a wonder that she didn't say anything against any of this. She didn't call or text me at all. Once I knew she wouldn't be getting any more money from my dad, I knew this was going to happen. It didn't make sense to try to get me back. If you don't pay child support, I won't either. That's how things were. I guess. I felt bad when I found out that she had only wanted me around for a few years after she met Rick because she needed the money. I now know where I stand with her, so I can choose if I want her in my life. No, I don't, is the answer. I don't think I'll ever talk to her again, which is good that I'm moving away. I might still go back once in a while to see my friends, but I don't have any other plans to go back. The only ways I can talk to my mom's parents are over the phone or the internet. They live in Greece. They just now learned what had been going on. They really cared about me, even though we're not close, and they agreed that what my mom was doing was wrong. But I don't think she cares. I feel sad talking about that, so I'll move on to something funny. I just found out from friends that Liam got into a public fight with his girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend, a few days ago. In the cafeteria, which made him feel bad. After I told her he was taking my things to give them to her as gifts, she seemed to have been avoiding him and blocking him everywhere. His goal has been to get her to talk to him for a while now that they are together. They used to be so close that no one thought it was strange that they weren't talking to each other anymore. He kept trying to get her to talk to him. But no one knew why since I was gone and my friends didn't talk about this kind of thing. When he tried to talk to her in the bar a few days ago, she lost it and started yelling about what he had done. It was so funny how things turned out. She made him look bad in front of everyone by telling them it was gross that he stole things from her while telling them he paid for everything with his own money. He was the talk of the school for a long time because of that. Rick was behind him all the way, but I know our school won't be so nice and forgive him. I guess it's just bad luck. I'm glad this happened because it was supposed to. I wish I could have seen everything, but I guess you can't have everything. 3. Hey, I've been away from home for a little over 2 months now, and things are slowly getting better. Getting used to a new school has kept me very busy these past few weeks. Because I started in the middle of the term, I still need to do a lot of work to catch up on what I missed. It's not too scary for me because I know I can do it. It's nice that I've already met some new people. This school really does remind me of my old high school. People here aren't really bad. I miss my old friends a lot of the time. It's been a few times since I last saw my dad. I need to get a lot of paperwork ready for my new school and also get everything I forgot to pack when I left. When I got home, I saw my mom, but she was very rude to me. It didn't worry me too much that she said she didn't even want to look at me. When Liam and Rick stared at my dad and me, they were a lot more fun to deal with. They almost lost their cool and started yelling at us, but they managed to keep it together. People made fun of Liam in public, so he probably doesn't like that I told her the truth about all the gifts she had been getting. He might not have been a thief if he didn't want to get caught. I'm getting used to my new life and I'm glad to be here with my dad. Most of the time he's busy with work, but when he's with me, we're the only ones there, and I never feel like I'm being forgotten. I like the slower pace better than what I've been used to for the last few years. When I think about it now, I think I made the right choice.